Welcome to the Authentic Human Podcast.
Thank you. I've been watching you, and it's so strange then to be here with
Oh,
you.
I
And
love it. I love it. I love
uh,
that you reached out. Thank you. Your message was lovely, and I really felt your energy right away, and I thank you. I thank you for reaching out. And today you get to choose your own adventure. So you can have any experience you want. You can ask some questions of your soul, of the universe, of any universal being, or you can just choose to allow the beings to start to share with you first, and you can ask some questions as we go. What would you like to experience today?
I think I'll let them share first and then see where it goes, if that's okay. I'll
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so okay. So I keep hearing the word transition, and they're showing me the last 5 to 7 years has been quite a transition for you. You've gone through like a metamorphosis. So it's, oh, I have goosebumps. Just, yeah, it's been intense. They're showing me like a lot of intensity, a lot of life and death, really questioning why are you even here? What is this all about? But from a perspective of almost rock bottom, if that makes sense. It's you literally had to go to the depths of your sadness, your darkness, your questioning, why am I here? Why is life? What is life? What is it meant to be? Because if this is it, I don't want to live it. And then you started to come out. You started to climb out of a cave, but the cave is hidden below ground. Like you had to dig deep inside of yourself to find not only the way out of that darkness, but then you had to, I don't think everyone really understands that there's sadness, there's depression, there's anxiety, but then there's a level of questioning existence itself that you went to. And to get out of that, you have to come to a place where you surrender to knowing that there's more. You just haven't found it yet in a way that has you questioning everything. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Well, I'll just share. Well, firstly, I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2016, but really, I think from the day I was born, there's been a growing sense of a connectedness to everything when I came in, and it's sort of coming alive again, and that was sort of shut down because of just the society, the family, the culture I live in. It just didn't, I had no awareness of it. And then I suppose, yes, I sort of ended up in a pattern of addiction and escape and all of that and started to come out of that, but then replaced it with work and still running and running and survival, and then bang, car accident, literally hit a wall. Like, what is this all about? Exactly the words that you said. I remember driving in the car going, if this is it, I'm out. I don't get this. I just don't get this. And then something greater took over, and then the cancer started a huge breaking open, is the word I use, breaking open. And that transition, like you said, it's been huge, and it's still there's something at the moment that feels I'm sort of allowing more, and I can feel it sort of a greater expansion, and something is calling me that caused me to reach out. And this week alone, there's been about these crazy synchronicities, I think, in the lead up to this call, and people reaching out. I did an interview with someone yesterday and they channeled, just to share this briefly, I was interviewing them for my podcast and they said, I have something to share with you. They're across the veil communicator. And the first thing they said to me was, I have a letter and I have some words here. Oh, I get shivers from John O'Donoghue, who's an Irish poet, a writer, and a mystic who has passed away. And he's written this for you. And I couldn't believe it because I found him after cancer through a lady who sort of guided me into writing and the discovery of him. And I open and close my book with his words. So this came through yesterday. So it's just like, oh my God, it's just, yeah. So
It's
it's
right there.
just, yeah, yeah. So it feels like there's just this light switch is going on and something is asking, okay, show me. I feel there's somewhere I need to move to, and I'm just not
Yeah.
sure, I suppose, you know. There's an
Yeah.
openness and there's all of that, and standing on the precipice going, oh, um, and but and also a desire to serve in a greater way.
Yeah.
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 Yes, it's spot on with everything. Yeah.
I love that. So, you know, so what I'm seeing is a lot of a lot of movement and preparation, but it's also what you've spent the last year and a half doing is growing self-recognition and self-awareness more than ever before. And this has been poignant. And that learning that you've gone through because you opened yourself to it, right? Before it was, I'm going to learn behind closed doors by myself in my own safe place. So no one else knows how much I'm suffering. And that's where you were. And then, you know, in the last year and a half, you opened up and went, why am I hiding? You know, this suffering that I've experienced, others are experiencing it too. And you can feel where you made that shift and you chose to come out of the darkness again, right? So, you know, not everyone would see that as coming out of the darkness, but it's recognition that when we choose to participate in our journey in a simply unapologetic way, whereas it's it's like this it's like this surge of power comes in because you're choosing to ignite other humans, right? So when we start to share our stories,
Mm,
we open to the energy of vulnerability, which is one of the most powerful energies in existence, right? And we share the truth of our story because we've come to a place where we're not ashamed of it anymore. We've
mm,
allowed it to propel our growth. And
mm,
so, you know, that's really the story you've been writing for the last year and a half is, you know, understanding that there is recognition to the value of your journey. And so now you're ready for more.
mm,
Obviously, you're ready for more because that's why you're here, right? But, you know, the more that you're ready for is about that the words that they're using are very specific. So it's about inspiration, but it's also about, they keep showing me ants, and ants are about the fine details that most people overlook. And you have a magnificent way of stringing all those fine details together so they create a song, so that they create awareness in ways that most people think, oh, it's just an ant. And you're like, no, no, the ant is walking this way at this time of day doing these things. And you see it without needing to mentally analyze it, which is the gift, right? Because most people are looking for messages through their mind. And that's not where messages occur, right? It's recognition that energy speaks through vibration and that's what you're seeing. So when you see the ant, you're seeing the vibration of the ant's intention and why it's there on the bigger picture. I'm just using an ant as an example. You
Yes, no,
understand,
no.
right?
Yeah.
So it's, when you're speaking with someone, you'll see where that vine is sort of woven through, and you can pull it out and highlight it in a way that they go, oh, I didn't see that before, right? So that's really what this next phase is about. It's leaning into that. It's trusting it more than ever so that it can grow. So if you imagine it's like a muscle that you want to build. So how do you do it? Practice and pushing it beyond your comfort zone, right? So, you want to lift a little bit of a heavier weight today, right? So you're going to you're going to feel the energy and you're going to say more than you have been saying because, you'll say right now, just sort of the surface, the parts where you're like, okay, this makes that person feel comfortable. That's what I want them to feel. And now you want to go to that level of, I want, I want to share the truth with this person because I recognize that it's in the discomfort that they're going to find their strength and power.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
remember, how did you find your strength and power? By being in the truth of the darkness,
Oh, I'm getting such, yeah. Yeah.
right? Okay.
Mm.
So it's not being scared to take other people there anymore,
Okay.
right? So it doesn't mean that they have to, you're creating that space where they don't have to go in there alone. They're going to go in there with you, with a friendly face, but you're not going in there to sugarcoat it. You're not going in there to make it anything other than it is. Because if they, remember, when you went in, you had to go to the deepest, darkest place so you could then come to the light. If you don't let them go to that place, then they can't come out again, right? It's like when I used to do big events and and I would, when there's a big group in person, and I would be speaking with one person, and they would be having an emotional reaction to what they were hearing and feeling, and they'd start crying. And there was always at least one person who wants to go over and give that person a hug. They want to stop the process. We're not going to do that because that stops them from feeling and going as deep as they need to, right? When we do that, when we want to protect, we want to keep safe, we don't allow that person to discover their own strength.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Because it's been something that was very difficult for me to do. So I really see the value in it, and it's more than that. And I've had just before this week, I've had two people reach out to me saying, I don't know what, like nearly, I don't know why I'm reaching out to you, but I'd like to work with you. And I'm like, what? Like to do what? And there's an art part of me because it's coming in, like you said, it's almost coming in very energetically to me. Like you said, it doesn't work through the mind. And I spent my life trying to work in that way. And it just
Doesn't
it
work.
no, no. So it's coming in very strong and I'm getting very strong images. What's happening is people are messaging me, I'm feeling something, and I message them in the energy, if you know what I
Yep.
mean. It's like it's coming, it's a preparation. And I'm sort of going, what am I doing here? It's like an exchange or something. It's this healing is going both ways, isn't it? It's this the sort of a network. I can feel it like this mycelium of yeah, a web. I can just feel it sort of moving in it. And
Yes.
yeah, and yeah, it's sort of, yeah, maybe it's just going into that, is it? It's like a part of me wants to grab it and say, well, okay, how do I structure this for the person? And how do I, you know what I mean?
So I do 100%
Mm,
because I went through the same in my own journey.
mm,
And when I stopped needing to structure it and I
mm,
allowed when people reach out, when they're ready, they reach out. And even if you say, I don't do it, or they'll reach out. And what was happening was I would just say, okay, let's get on a call and let's talk to your soul. Let's feel what the energy has to say. And your soul is going to tell me how many times we need to talk a month. It's not really that much, right? Most of the time it's two or three times a month. As humans, we need time to process, and we don't value that anymore because we've gone through the education system that's taught us how to think, how to approach everything, and it's completely out of alignment with who we are. And
Mm,
so that system has taught us how to work, how to do everything, right? So it's really being able to allow your instincts through the energy to say, okay, and not having an expectation before, right? Like when clients, message me, I'm like, I don't know. Let's find out first of all if the energy says we're going to be a good fit. That's the first thing we do, in a 15-minute call, because if we're not a good fit for both of us, it's not going to work. And
mm,
then we find out what we're going to be working on. The energy tells everything, right? And
mm,
then once they tell us what we're going to be working on, okay, then they tell us how often. So how many sessions? And then they also tell us how much it's going to cost. Now, here's the thing. When the energy tells you how much it's going to cost, okay, it has to be a number that puts that person in a place of discomfort. And this is where most humans are like, oh, I don't want to be uncomfortable. I want this to be. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not going to take it seriously and you're not going to show up. It has to be enough of an investment that you're going to fully participate. You're not just going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm taking this course, or yeah, I'm doing this mentoring, or, it has to be a number that puts you in a place of, I am going to show up for this. And I'm going to do it. And I will say that there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I can't afford that. Oh, I can't afford that. Awesome. Then you're not ready.
mm,
You're not ready. And
mm,
and that's okay. The reality is money is a reflection of our belief in ourself, right? And so when we allow the truth of who we are to shine through, the truth of all of that, abundance is an exchange. It's just like energy, right? Everything is an exchange of energy. Money is as well. And the problem is that we've been trained by a financial system that is combined with the education system and even the medical system. They all, the medical system, right? You're not good enough to heal yourself. What? Right? You're not good enough. That's what we've heard over and over and over again with all of these systems. I mean, and then there's the religious system where you've already sinned before you were even born, and you're in constant judgment. So none of these things are true, but we have to overcome them. And the only way we can overcome them is when we want to. And so when you're stepping into this role of participating in facilitating massive transformation, right, for people that you're working with, which is where you're going, the number one thing is you have to allow them to feel the depths of the discomfort because that's where they're going to find their power. Because you've lived it. So don't stop that flow and don't need it to be anything other than it is, right?
mm,
It's allowing them to have the space to see all of that truth and then lift them up from there, right? That's what you did. That's what you went through, and you did it on your own. So now
mm,
because you've already done it, and here's the other thing. So many people have taken courses and they've, you know, done all the modalities, they have certificates on their wall, but they can't get the results for their clients because they haven't lived it. So that means they don't yet embody that energy.
mm,
You have done it. So you embody that energy of going from the darkness to the light. And what I don't mean by bad to good. Darkness to light means not seeing truth to seeing the truth of who you are, right? And now, once you're on that journey, then you realize, oh my gosh, it's a never ending. You're going to constantly be learning about more, everything about who you are and what you're capable of and what brings you joy. And sometimes you're going to have experiences where you're like, yeah, that's not very joyful. Ugh. And that's
Mm.
okay because you know now how to shift and make a different change, right? A different choice through change. So, you're in this sweet spot right now, right? I mean, humanity is building a new foundation, and those who are making a difference right now are the ones who understand that and who are willing to participate in creating this new world. So that's the intention you want to continue to hold is when you are working with a human, you want to embody the awareness that you're going to offer them whatever they need to build the best life and experience they possibly can for the future of humanity. Feel how big that is? So letting go of that tiny little, this is what I'm holding for you, to get as big as you can, Celine, because that's what you're meant to do. And the bigger you go, remember I was saying, going out of your comfort zone, right? Using bigger weights than you think you can. When you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to create massive transformation for your clients. Massive. And it's going to be in the simplest things. And that's
Mm.
where so many of us are tricked, right? We're tricked into thinking it needs to be really complicated to be valuable, but it doesn't. Universal awareness is simple. You know that because when you hit that bottom, you went, I got to pull myself up. And the things you did were simple, they weren't complicated, but it took effort. And that's the difference. It's simplicity and significant effort. Right?
Mm.
So you're going to allow them to see it, and you're going to make sure that the financial aspect is a reflection of the transformation opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not what you think they can afford. Don't go into that fear mentality. And there's so many people that are there. And the ones who are like, I'm not ready, that's when you say, I get it. That's okay. You know, keep watching your podcast, keep watching it, keep learning about yourself because there's going to be a point in time where abundance is going to start to flow to you and you're going to be ready. And I'll be here. Right? It's not needing to help everyone. It's allowing yourself to be present for those who are ready and willing to participate.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Right. And
Yeah.
the podcast is creating that opportunity for those who are not yet ready, right? It's the same as what I'm doing. It's not everyone is ready to do a mentorship with me. And to be honest, I'm probably not going to offer them that much longer because I'm going into new explorations on another side and another part of my journey and my existence. But the reality is, when they are ready, they'll reach out because
Mm.
I'm giving them the so much value over here. So, your your um your model for participation in that sense of creating a new foundation is 100% on track. You're exactly where you're meant to be. The tricky part is you're about 4 or 5 years ahead of where humanity is. That's why sometimes it won't connect all the time. Don't worry
Mm.
about it. You're holding the space up here, so when humanity is ready to rise, then they're gonna run right into you, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, okay, yes." Does that make sense?
It does. I'm sort of feeling it, and I was sort of thrown back into the system that I came out of. Just interestingly, I said it to someone on an interview on a radio station about cancer, and I straight away went, I could feel this. Okay, I need to speak my truth. We need to know our potential. I'm just not doing this anymore. And I could just, like what you talk about, I had great respect for the people there, but I was just getting so. And the minute I started opening up and saying, no, this is what's available, and this is what I was sort of shut down, and they sort of zipped over to the person from the medical system. And I just thought, I can't do this anymore. This is not where I'm meant to be. And at the same time, what you're saying. I'm sort of learning to, I know that the podcast I was guided to because it's allowed me step into speaking and sort of being present and being energetically with someone in a space. And it's become something very different to what I don't even like the word podcast, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't matter what the word is, but yeah, I know, I'm going to get hung up with that. But that seems to be leading me into what you're saying. And yet there still is an aspect of me going, but I need to have an offering there in terms of, I don't know, maybe there's a doubt around what it is I'm really offering them, that I have to get them results because that's sort of the old,
Right. The fear. That's fear-based.
yeah,
But
I
the
suppose,
reality
yeah.
is you've done it. So you already know
Mm,
that results are imminent, period.
yeah.
But again, when you partner with someone, you're not getting them results, you're giving them the opportunity.
Mm,
It's their job to get their results. That's in my contract. When someone signs a contract with me for mentorship, it's my job to give them the information they need to succeed. It's their job to participate and make it happen. It is not my job to get them results. It's not your
mm,
job.
yeah. Okay.
You see the
Okay.
difference?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
Oof.
other thing, yeah, it's huge, right? When you really understand that, that is the backbone of how relationships are meant to be, period. Whether they are a business, whether they are intimate, whether it's parents and children, best friends, acquaintances. It is a partnership and everyone has their responsibilities. And the problem is we decide that our job is to make the other person happy, to fulfill this or fulfill that. And that is completely not true, right? And that's part of this illusion that we're breaking down. And we can't take that forward into this new world because it's not in alignment with who we were created to be. It's all part of this big, massive illusion I mean, we're seeing it. The whole world is breaking down, right? It's falling apart because it's not real. It's
Mm,
just a dynamic we've been taught. And the other part is when you have those experiences, like you had when you were on that interview, with medical professionals, right? And there's a part of you that, it feels honored to be asked to participate in this way. And then you realize that they have an attachment to the outcome, and you've already outgrown that perspective. And it's not a bad thing. It is literally your soul giving you an opportunity to go, are you ready? Are you ready to go now?
mm.
Because that's
That's
the feeling.
exactly what it felt
Yes,
like. Exactly.
it's exactly what it
Yeah.
is, right? It's
Yeah.
not, oh gosh, here we go again. It's okay, I'm done with this,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and I've had a few podcast episodes that we've recorded that I will never ever use because that person wasn't ready to go. They literally were there for not great reasons and it didn't feel good. And I was like, nope, not going there. Thank you very much. But no, we don't. There's that, excuse me, a wonderful saying I saw in the last week. And it's funny, hang on, sorry.
Okay. Drink of water.
Yes. So, mm,
Take one.
and it says, it's easy to be polite. And I understand, like, it's lovely because it keeps coming up. It's one of those moments where we've lived in a society that's trained us to be polite, and polite doesn't follow our instincts. Polite is about making sure that other people are comfortable around us, but that's not our job. It's not someone else's job to make sure you're comfortable. So why would you decide that you need to make other people comfortable? It's just a thank you so much. It's not for me. Right? There's no drama. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Thank you. I got to go over here. And then when you start talking about where you are now, because you've gone there, the right people can come. They can find you because you're broadcasting a vibration with a message that resonates with where they are. And that's what this new world is about. The louder we broadcast, right? Not, it has nothing to do with the volume. It has everything to do with the purity of our connection to who we are and our ability to communicate that into the world. That is what our volume is, right? In the sense of our power. And the more we do that, the stronger our voice becomes. And the more powerful you become because now you can make more of an impact. Because not only are you speaking to what you're meant to be speaking, the people who need to hear it and who are ready for it can hear you,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's beautiful. So this is, I know we've spent a lot of time talking business, but in a lovely way, which is amazing,
Yes.
right? It's awesome. And, that's where you're going. And it's really about finding the confidence to follow through, right? So what they're saying is they want you to go back and remember the confidence that you needed to come out of that cave, that level. That's what you're going to use again. And
Mm.
again, you know how to do it, you've done it, and it's going to challenge you, but it's not being scared anymore. If you're worried about not performing for someone, leave the money in the bank until the sessions are done. Like, for that full and just kind of just leave it there. And then you'll feel at the end of the session, you'll be like, oh, okay, I've earned that now, you know? But people, and again, that's the other thing is they pay before.
Yeah.
Always pay
Yeah.
before. When they
Okay.
make the session, again, it's a level of commitment. If I'm setting aside that time for my client, it's theirs. They own it, right? The clients that have been with me forever, when they get their invoices, they pay them right away. They don't wait till the last day to pay because they know they're ready to participate in universal abundance and in exchanging it. They don't wait till the last minute, right? The
Mm.
waiting till the last minute comes down to that fear. And you cultivate that, right? So it's recognition of how you're participating. And so the purer you are, the higher vibration you go, that's what you're going to begin to bring to you. Okay. And
Mm.
I know we've talked a lot about money and what they're saying is it's part of the foundation right now. And it is going to be for the next few hundred years. It isn't going to just dissolve overnight. It can't because this world is built on it. And in order for it to be reversed, it has to be ethically done and not ethically within the minds of humans that, oh, it should be this way.
Mhm.
Um, it's going to be in alignment with universal awareness, which is fundamentally different than any human could ever. We have a joke in my private community. Um, if you ever find yourself saying should, you should stop what you're saying, go back and feel into it because you're not at the truth yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no such thing as shoulds in the world, but again, we've been
Yeah.
trained. That's how we communicate. That's how we talk. So,
Mm.
yeah. So, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling I'm feeling good. I'm feeling there's something and I'm not sure what it is that is sort of
We're going to do some healing.
yeah, there's
Hmm.
something that it's very interesting. It was huge energy, synchronicity. There was an awful lot sort of swirling around the last few days, and then something came in today, and I said, "What is that? What is
I
that?"
love
Is
it.
this
I
in
love it.
preparation for this evening? Is it something that needs to leave? Yeah, there's something really uncomfortable started to rise up
Yeah.
today. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Um,
it's a significant amount of fear around not being enough. And
yeah.
um, you know, again, right? When we have significant discomfort, okay, it's because we've gone through the journey and it's right at the end before we're ready to step into the new. And it's our soul's way and the universe's way of saying, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you're ready to go to that next level? And it's our way of saying, yeah, okay, I'm going to participate. right? It's the same thing that I was saying, about making the financial investment an uncomfortable place. Like, are you sure you want to do this? Right? It's the same dynamic. And it's when you understand energetically that energy is in everything, you allow that flow to continue, and so the vibration of cancer itself is is anger, and anger is always fear,
Mm.
always. So ultimately, the root cause of cancer vibrationally is a fear, which is fascinating because when you can allow yourself to surrender to that truth, which we want to look at it as solely physical, and looking back, I mean, there's a lot of people who are, it's in genetics and it's here. So our emotions are more, what's the word I'm looking for? Generational than our genetics almost, if that makes
Oh,
sense.
totally.
Um,
Mm.
who we've been taught to be is a powerful indicator because it's how we treat ourselves in everything we do. And so you're at this level and place now where you can never treat yourself with that disrespect that you carried for so long and you were taught. You're now at this place where you have to entrust to yourself a level of deep respect that you have not yet achieved and yet have been craving. And what So Jesus is actually here, which is lovely because he's, the ambassador, if you will, for compassion in this entire universe. He holds that vibration and he wants to gift you the opportunity to receive the gift of compassion, to allow yourself to participate in this depth of respect, this new level. Are you ready?
I am, for sure. Yeah,
Are you willing?
absolutely.
And he says, are you willing to love yourself how you're meant to be loved?
Yeah, it's time.
You're going to feel that a lot more over the next 8 to 10 days, 9 to 10 days. The depth of that bond, of that vow that you just made to yourself is going to become more clear. And there's going to be opportunities for you to flex that muscle, okay, in the next 10 days in particular. Some of them aren't going to look comfortable, okay? And it's remembering that there's a reason for that. When we have challenges that seem, why is this happening? It's, oh, right, because I'm being given the opportunity to respect myself. So, what choice am I going to make in this situation that reflects my level of respect for myself? Okay? Does that make sense? So, people may say things or conversations may happen, and it's instead of going, why is this happening? It's going, another opportunity to respect myself. What is my new choice? And this is your foundation for your new life. That's how powerful this is. You're literally creating a new life, which means when you decide who you're going to be and what you're going to say and how you're going to act and how you're going to choose to use your energy, that's your new life. Okay, don't worry about getting it wrong because you change it all the time based on your opportunities and your experiences. But your experiences are a reflection of the choices you make. Okay? So just remembering that everything right now is a reflection of your respect for yourself. Okay.
That's a big one, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
massive. It's
Yeah.
literally, and I there's a lot of like your whole digestive system and your reproductive system is in flux now. So it's all shifting. There's going to be a lot of clearing, um, a lot of clearing. You're not sick. There's nothing wrong. Your body is not um, out of alignment. It is realigning. And it's remembering that. It's not letting the fear come in and go, oh my gosh, is there something wrong? Why is it doing this? They're showing me lots of loose bowel movements, lots of fatigue. There's going to be some sweating, which excessive, right? And it's just recognition. All of it is going to be a little stinky, right? Because stinky is fear coming out of your pores, coming out of your system, and it's going to come out as fast as it can because you're ready so quickly now, right? If we did this 5, 10 years ago, it would have gone on for weeks and months because that's how long these things took, sometimes years, right? But you're
Mhm.
at this place now where it's going to go probably, like I said, 8 to 10 days. And again, there's going to be almost, it's going to seem like tension headaches or pressure headaches, but it's the toxins of fear leaving your body, right? They leave a mark on every cell in your body. And it's time to let them go. Right? Because again, fear is underneath anger. So you can see the anger's been sitting in there, and then underneath all that anger is fear.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
So all of that has to come out. And also recognition that as it's coming out, there's going to be emotional reactions that seem they're exhausting because they seem like they come out of nowhere, but they're extreme. It's being able, again, it's your soul's way of saying, are you sure you're ready to let this go? Are you
Mhm.
sure?
They've started already this week.
I love that. I love it. Right?
Everything started, I think,
Yep.
well,
Everything's
everything
all
you
over.
described started about 4 days ago.
I love it. I love it. It's amazing.
So,
Well, and that's what
yeah.
happens, right? Once you choose to
Mm,
participate, like the moment
mm,
we said, "Yep, we're going
mm,
to do this,"
It started.
it's so when I used to do one-on-one sessions or when I would do big events in person, and it would be hilarious because for like I would have to say, "Okay, guys, enough. You can't come in and talk to me more than 3, 4 days ahead." And then they would start, laying all the energy inside of me for all the people in attendance. And now again, you learn how to process it more efficiently and effectively as we raise our own vibration, right? It's just naturally how it works. And so, but it was exhausting. And then for days after, more information would just keep coming through. And I mean, I couldn't sleep. It was intense. But again,
So do you just ask, like, look, just, yeah, give it to me in a way that, or
well,
do you
I
just,
didn't because I didn't go to a reactive place. I went to, okay, so I need to learn how to get better at this, right? Instead of stopping the flow because I don't want to stop it, I
mm,
would learn how, like, show me how to get more efficient at this. Show me, how to better manage all of this. And then you get better, right? You work together. Because my goal is always to work with other humans. But again, like when I first opened up, right? I would be walking down the street and all this stuff's coming in and I'm like, man, I got enough of my own stuff. Like I don't need everybody else's. And so I just went, okay, no. I don't want to know anything about anyone unless I am choosing to participate in an exchange with this person. That was it. And so that really cleared up a lot of the noise around the edges. And then when I had events, because I had to learn, like they showed me early on. So I guess 15, maybe 16, 17 years ago now. Gosh, it's crazy how time
wow.
fast, so fast. But it was really when I started working with larger groups of people and they just said, okay, now you're preparing, you're learning how to hold energy for 100,000 people. And so now I'm at a place where they're showing me I can do 50 million people at one time. So that's amazing. But again, that's 18 years in. to, well, 20 years into this journey and 18 years consciously participating in a lot of working with other humans, right? And then 14, 15, anyways, doesn't matter. You get it,
Yeah.
right? So it's not worrying about what you're not doing and what you hope you can do. It's trusting that if they're coming, you're meant to work with them. Leave it at that and just trust, lean into that trust because when you lean into that, that's where the awareness comes. It doesn't come when we go, oh, okay, I have to help them get this and I have to let all the rules go. Let them go. You know how to dig deep and you're going to have the instincts in the moment because the energy is going to show you everything you need to know, everything you need to share, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's yeah, it's just yeah, so just really because that I feel is what has been shown through, as I said, starting that podcast is just it was like preparation, preparation. Then I was feeling no, no, no. You just need to be present and feel and yeah, go to that edge sometimes of not knowing, oh my God, what if the whole thing just stops and falls apart and nobody says anything? And it's more I get it. Like I do get it that's sort of been the preparation for yeah, just allowing the flow of energy, yeah,
Yeah.
between and knowing and trusting when it's over and
Yep.
knowing when it's still flowing and
Right.
yeah, yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Because there is a divine flow to everything. And if we just listen and pay attention, you can just relax and settle into it, right? I have done from one-on-one sessions to big events that last like 2, 3 days, full days, and I never plan what I'm going to say. I have zero plan. If I have a plan, I'm letting the people in front of me down
yeah,
because it's coming from Michelle's mind. My intention, however, I have very strong intentions. My intention is that everyone in that experience receive the guidance and awareness and wisdom they need, period. And then the experience unfolds. It doesn't matter if I'm doing the podcast or if I'm holding an event for hundreds or thousands of people. It doesn't matter. The intention is always the same, and there's no plan, which is really uncomfortable for most people to do because we believe that in order to follow through and fulfill other people's needs and desires, we have to have a plan, we have to have a strategy. And it's letting go of that mentality that's going to allow you to succeed.
yeah. I feel that. I feel it's like having been in a prison almost. And it's like this is just, it's loosening. I can just see it. It's like this vice grip is loosening. And
Yes.
it was loosened after cancer. As I said, I literally describe it as if I just was broken open and just left. Whoa, this is amazing. Um, but it was then coming out of that and then nearly back into this, back into trying to put that on and it wasn't working. And that caused, I've said that that has been that was been nearly the most difficult, that transition going, I'm ready for the new, but I'm in this environment which is telling me, no, now you're ready to go back. We fixed you. Off you go. Back in again.
Yes.
No,
Nope,
no,
can't do that, right?
no, no, there's no going back. That doesn't
No.
happen.
And and the other thing, with that whole dynamic is you are now in a place where you have to trust yourself. You know and you understand that you can no longer trust other people's opinions and ideas. I mean, you really learned that going through everything you went through with your cancer experience. Um, and I specifically use those words, your cancer experience, not your cancer.
Yeah,
Uh, right, you understand
I
that.
do. Absolutely.
Right.
Yes, for
Um,
sure. For
yeah, we
sure.
don't we don't put labels on ourselves ever, 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 because then you're carrying that and you're bringing it forward. But
Yeah.
it is recognition that that experience changed who you are because you were able to see all of these truths about yourself in relation to the system that of the world, so to speak, and how society is, right? The system of society, if you will. And so that's really what the fears that you're shedding, all of them are in relation to the systems of society that you've been bred, like born into and bred to follow and to achieve within and succeed within. And it's recognition that that's not how souls succeed. That's how humans are led through suffering, really. Suffering, denial, and a slew of other things. So it's recognition of self that is going to that's what you need to meet the fear head on with is recognition of self. So it's continuing to see more truth about who you are, who you're meant to be, and just allowing that to unfold, right? It's every time you have an experience is this what I want to take forward? Is this a part of my future? Because how I react to this situation determines if I'm taking it forward or not. So if you find, oh, I'm just going to be polite and I'll just pretend this didn't really happen, it's going to come back. You're going to have another experience of it. You need to clearly communicate with the universe. Yes, this works for me. No, this doesn't work for me. Because when we don't clearly communicate that message, we're going to keep getting the same experience.
Oh, I know.
Right.
The
So,
pattern comes back in a different form, but yeah, it comes back.
right? It
Yeah.
has to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, yeah. There's a question, just if it's okay, that's just keeps
100%.
coming up. I don't know if it's a question or just it's a topic or a theme that keeps rising up in me. And I have felt it very strongly in the last couple of years. Maybe it's fear, but the word grief comes up a lot. And I don't know if it's personal, collective, but there's a sense of grief that needs to move. And it's a yeah.
So it's well, I'm not surprised that you're saying this because you're so connected with energy. And I literally recorded a podcast episode yesterday on grief that is coming out this Sunday. And it was this line, it's sitting in front of my desk. Grief is the journey we must travel to become whole.
Mm, yes, that's the sentence I needed to. Yes. Mm,
And grief is, I love that you're saying it. So
mm.
there's a whole podcast on this Sunday that you
Okay,
you
I'll
can
be listening. I'll be
absolutely
listening.
access, but it is recognition that grief is the recognition that we are moving into a stage of life that we never thought we'd have to live. We didn't have prior awareness, whether we've lost someone and we can't take that person with us. So often, and most often right now, is we can't take those parts of ourselves with us because they're no longer serving us.
Mm,
Okay? They're dead and we've moved on from them. But it is recognition that you have to stop and you have to thank them and allow what that person or that dynamic or that experience brought to your life. See it from the place that what did you bring to me? Because that's the grieving process. It's when we don't move on from it, when we keep saying, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Do you know how many people when I come into a session with them and they're like, I don't know how to find joy. And their soul will give them two very specific things to do to go find joy. And then they're like, but I don't know how to do it. And it's like you weren't listening. You didn't hear because you're not ready to actually do it. You're still in that aspect of spinning. And that spinning occurs when we don't allow ourselves to grieve. Grieve does not mean you spend months and weeks and years in a space of sadness. Grief is a deep recognition that your journey has changed. It's taken a turn, and that part of you and your life with that person, with that experience, it's done. And you need to celebrate it for what it was, because whatever it was brought you gifts and awarenesses about who you are and where you're meant to be going. And it's your job to just take a minute and reflect and be grateful. Not in the words gratitude of, oh, I'm so grateful, but in the, I feel the relief of the knowing of what that experience offered you, right? It's like going through cancer, literally questioning, am I going to live? That opportunity gave you the ability to see into how you were living as opposed to how you want to live. You wouldn't have had it if you didn't have that experience. And so many other aspects, right? You wouldn't have valued your life as much as you do now. So that's just one example, right? So grief is the ability to move on, but you have to grieve. You can't hold sorrow. That's very different than grieving. Okay. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm grieving. No, you're just holding on to sorrow and sadness and feeling sorry for yourself that you're not moving forward because you don't know what to do without that person or that experience. Right. So when we say over and over again, but I don't know what to do, but I don't know what to do, that's us in sorrow and feeling sorry for ourselves.
Yeah.
Don't
There's
sit
an
there.
alchemy or something that's happening. There's something I can't put. It's like this Jew. I can't even find words, but it seems to be the way through to wholeness. Like you said, it seems to be the
Yeah.
sort of, yeah. There's
It
something I
it
can,
has to occur in that way,
yeah,
period. Right? It's and that's the alchemy aspect in the sense of there's no other way to do it. And that's why humans, right? Like if you look right now out in the world, there's courses on how to get over this and how to get over that, and then there's modalities and all of these things, and people still aren't getting the results because they're not aligning with the universal truth. And the universal truth, again, we come back to the truth that it is very, very, very simple. It takes effort, yes, but it is simple. And the thing is you have to respect where you've been. That's how you grieve. But if you're feeling sorry for yourself for where you've been, you're not grieving. You're just carrying sadness and sorrow and pity, right? And pity is it's the most negative experience you could ever offer another human or yourself because it literally says, I'm not strong enough or you're not strong enough to do this. That's what pity is, right?
yeah.
So grief is completely opposite, but most people say they're grieving, but really they're feeling sorry for themselves. And it's a tricky pill to swallow but again, when you swallow it, it's that discomfort that takes you to the other side, right? It's when we don't allow ourselves to feel it, right? What I was talking about at the beginning, when you know, when you got there, when you went to that depth, you felt all of it and you got to the other side because you felt all of it. People aren't getting to the other side because they're in this, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. So you have to stop and you have to actually say, oh, so right now, my intention is I don't know. Right. So you're never going to know because that's your intention, right? But yours is good. It's clean, it's pure, and you're ready. They're showing me there's going to be it might there's going to be a lot of urinating too as everything is coming out. Drink lots of water. Um, and they are showing me lemon and honey, but raw honey.
Mhm.
As long as you're not allergic to it, but not where it's not a bladder infection or anything like that. It's and there might even be like a burning sensation. Again, the fears are coming out. And remember, fear is stored in our cells, right? We don't just store it in our energy, we store it in our cells and it builds up. So it's recognition that all of this is going to come out. Like even your skin is going to brighten, it's going to become clear. Like
Mm.
everything is just going to purify. So, what they are also saying is really paying attention to everything now that goes in your mouth, on your skin, on your body in any way, as pure as possible. Okay.
Yeah. 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 Mm.
It's treating your body like a temple almost, right? Like, with that level of respect,
Yeah.
because that's what you're stepping into, right? It's
Yeah.
a whole new level.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So,
Mm.
yeah. And Jesus, he did offer and he asked, and he's reminding me, he's like, tell her, share with you that there's a crown that he's placed on your head, and it's feeling it, and it's that recognition of this new level of respect for yourself. And he says, whenever you're in doubt, you just close your eyes and feel into it. It's sitting right there. It's a recognition that you made this commitment to yourself. So when it's hard, because it will be, when it's hard, your job is to remind yourself how important you are to yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
And when you get angry because it's hard and you're like, I don't even care about myself. Because when we have those moments, right? I mean, I've
Oh,
had
yeah.
them, right? Yes.
For
And
sure.
he's right. And he's saying it's okay to have those moments, but it's remembering that even in that moment, you're going to come back to that level of, and that new level of respect, because in that level is the healing and love and compassion that you're craving. And you're going to give it to yourself first, because then when you do, that's your new broadcast vibration out to the world. And that's what you're coming back. That's what's coming back to you, right? It's who we are
Yeah.
and what we're broadcasting out is what's coming back. So if we don't like what's coming at us, you need to broadcast a different vibration, right?
Yeah.
So,
That is so beautiful. It is so, isn't it so true? It's
yep,
like if you don't like the movie of your life,
right?
put something else on the projector. I know, and it all sounds but it makes it very clear, doesn't it? That very yeah, yeah.
It's
And
a
I'm
nice
thinking,
visual.
yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful visual. It's a beautiful visual. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. Um
You're welcome.
yeah,
Thank you so
yeah,
much. This has just
yeah.
been absolutely wonderful. I
Oh, it's been
loved.
amazing. And I think the power, what it's really reminded me when I heard you first, I was like, oh, there's something, I could feel the vibration, not like I need to talk to her, but also just listening to how you transmit yourself and with the guests who come on with me, it's so beautiful. I could just feel it. Yeah, I could feel it energetically. And something was saying, this is how I'll work with people in some way in the future. It was like it was sort of
Perfect.
inviting in, going, yeah,
Planting a seed. Planting a seed. Yes.
planting a seed for
That's
sure. So
awesome.
thank you so much,
You're
Michelle,
welcome.
for
I'm just doing a little bit of healing actually in the chest area, if you're open to that.
yes,
Okay. Because again, that's that reflection, that space of how you hold love for yourself. And so I'm just going to, there's some cells that when we go through surgery and then there's scar tissues, we need to breathe life back into those cells. Would you allow me and permit me to do that? Okay.
gorgeous. Thank you.
So um, I'm going to give those cells the opportunity to reignite. And for anyone who's watching, they can also receive the experience. Um, but the intention is that the cells be reignited with the vibration of your soul, so that you may feel the full love and compassion and respect of who you are, but also who you're meant to be, so that more awareness can trickle down into your day-to-day experiences and activities. Okay? Yeah. There's a lot. shifting. It's
Mhm.
it's like a electrical charges almost, like the central nervous system is um, it's a lot. And so here's the thing. This is that fine line between feeling overwhelmed and receiving abundance because we're really comfortable going to the place where this is really overwhelming. And it's you're in this space of, okay, bring it all in, give it to me, all of it, right? And I love that. And so stay there, don't change. And it's remembering that everything you're offered is going to always be in abundance because that's the only language the universe uses. It's the humans who use, oh, I'm overwhelmed. That's too much. I need to slow down. I need to get comfortable with this. If you're being offered something that takes you way outside your comfort zone, it's because you're ready to go there, right? So for you right now, that's also a little bit about what's going on sort of around the edges of all things in your life, so many different areas, right? It's a constant shifting in awareness of you're ready for more. In you're ready to see more, you're ready to hear more, you're ready to experience more. And it's allowing all that more to come in. And instead of going, okay, whoa, I don't know what to do with this. This is too much. It's just, okay, show me. Show me. Show me what I'm meant to do, right? It's just like when 1 million or 2 million beings showed up the first time I was connecting and I was like, and then the second time I was like, okay, so we're going to work together, but I can't talk to 1 million of you at the same time. So how are we going to do this? And, they chose to pick one who, if, or different beings would speak to different things. So it was brilliant. We worked together, right? But don't block it. There's
Right.
so many people who go, oh, I'm overwhelmed. Oh, I got to slow down. Oh, I got to take a break. Never take a break from your life.
Wow.
Never, never take a break. Just go, okay, show me how to learn how to deal with this or how to appreciate this or how to, how to do this in a way that makes sure that everybody's winning, right? Because if your intention is for you to win, you're not going to be overwhelmed. You're going to be full, right? It's an exchange of abundance. Let abundance flow. And I can tell you that that is a foundation for many with breast cancer, is we're not comfortable. My mom had breast cancer 3 times and then liver cancer. So I'm very familiar with the energy of it.
Mm.
And it is very much a block of abundance, 100%. And it's because we are taught to feel shame and guilt for who we are, right? And
Yeah.
so it's allowing ourselves to accept that abundance is the natural law, and our job is to raise and rise to the occasion of allowing that exchange to occur rather than blocking it. Because our instinct, we've been taught to block it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's really been coming in, and I love what you say about rising up. Like it's like rising up to meet it, rather than I
Yes.
have to fight for it, or yeah. And that would be in the sort of energy of
All of it, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
whether it's love, respect,
Mhm.
compassion, joy, right? Movement, balance, like any aspect of existence. Abundance is always the way the universe is going to experience it and shift it. It's humans who need to allow that to occur.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And just one thing on the nervous system, if you don't mind me asking, if you start to feel, this has been my sense that in the doing rather than the allowing and the being, I find my nervous system goes, I can nearly feel it's a signal to say stop,
Yep.
because that would have been a pattern. I get into something, I actually get so passionate and really into it, but there's also probably a fear there as well. So it goes into this sort of whirl. So my sense is, yeah, it's saying when I feel that burnout again, come on, just step back, just allow. Is that sort of what's
Yeah,
being
that's brilliant.
decided? Just allow and get out of here. and back into the
It's
body.
just follow the energy because the energy's always going to tell you,
Yes.
right?
Right.
It's, you
Yeah.
know, it's always, it holds all the answers to everything.
Mm.
So it's just being able to surrender to the moment I start to feel overwhelmed, I'm like, oh, I'm pushing too hard. Right. I just need to come back, take a breath, and allow the energy to show me exactly what I need to do, who I need to be.
Yeah. 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 Perfect. Thank you.
So, Celine, can you share with our listeners where they can find you?
Oh, yes.
Please and thank you.
You can find me on YouTube, Celine O'Donovan, and you can also find me on Substack. And my podcast is there also. And CelineO'Donovan.com is my website.
Wonderful. And that'll be all right below this video. So I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This has been absolutely wonderful. And I'm looking forward to meeting with you again in the very near future.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Michelle. That's been such a gift. I can feel already the sort of spaciousness opening up. Thank you so much. I
Oh,
really,
I love
really
that.
appreciate it and all the beings. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this conversation, learned something, or received any benefit that you believe will improve your life, subscribe to our channel so I can serve you better by attracting unique guests and starting even bigger conversations. If you know you're meant to change the world, head on over to michellevickers.com, where innovators and thought leaders go for guidance, wisdom, inside information, and support they can trust. Until next time, stay curious.